Hey, 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 hey. Welcome to ComeonyespursTV, where we talk about everything Spurs. Today is the aftermath with special guests, and we are looking at the match between Tottenham and Brentford. Last game of the season at home, and Brentford came away 3-1 winners. Not the scoreline everyone hoped to close with. With me to look at this today, I've got some guests. I think they'll be arriving very, very shortly. I think first to arrive is Klaus, and we'll get to him in a few seconds. In the meantime, come on, ye Spurs. Hey, hey, hey. Chuma is joining us as well. Chuma, I think, will be here in exactly 10 seconds. I think he's trying to get into the room in a minute. Right. Tottenham. Where do we even want to start this? It's just one of those days when you just love being a Spurs fan, you know. You can never hate being a Spurs fan, but it's just amazing how Spurs just make your day. I mean, amazing. All right, so welcome to Come On You Spurs TV to those who are joining us for the first time, where we talk about everything Spurs. Okay, we've got a bit of a Nigerian bent to this, but hey, ultimately it's about Spurs. I've got two guests with me today, and we're going to dissect all of the happenings in today's game. Honestly, I'm just I'm just short of words. Honestly, it's just I don't even know where to start. You know, it's one of those things when, as a Spurs fan, okay, fine. I mean, you sort of take it on the chin. On the other hand, you think, hang on, what just happened here? You know, I'm thinking we shouldn't be in this position. You know, I mean, okay, fine. We haven't had a great season thus far, but even then, it's still not good enough. Not good enough by any way you want to call it. Chuma, Klaus, welcome. How are you guys?
I'm wearing my Real Madrid top. Thank you. You know, he's wearing a Spurs on. I'm Real Madrid. Unfortunately, we got knocked out. We got knocked out of the Champions League. That's all I'll say. But
oh, Lord have mercy. You're one of those who defects at the earliest sign of trouble, right?
Oh yes, yes. I'm Nigerian. I've learned how to politically align myself properly. Look, APC, PDP is all the same party to me. But in all seriousness, that first half actually gave some encouragement. It was firstly seeing the lineup 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, whatever you wanted to call what they had on. It actually gave some encouragement. Okay, they want to finish with a flurry. And they played pretty well. It was quite front foot. It was in the second half, Brentford exploded, and I expected the way Brentford played in the second from the first. I expected them to create as many chances, even without Ivan Toney. And you and I we did the preview, and I said to you, these guys, they're coming in with better form. They are well organized, well drilled. Thomas Frank is a very good coach, but one thing he's gotten his players to buy into what he wants them to do. So even if they're behind, Brentford are just one of those teams that they just come for you and they keep coming, and Tony makes it easier for them because he bullies your defenders. But in this occasion, it's I don't know how to describe it. I actually think maybe Mason was too smart for his own good. Maybe he should have still stuck to the usual 5 or 3-4-3 and then just played Bissouma instead. Playing this back four, I don't know. I don't know. It looked good in the first half. That's all I can say. But after that, it was just, yeah.
Gosh. So talking of lineups, I mean, let's just have a quick look at what we have here. So I mean, we had what you might call an unusual lineup in the sense that not your usual suspects, right? So first time goal, I mean, totally made a mess of our pretty good lineup, didn't it? from the preview of this program, right? So we had Royal, Sanchez, and Longley as the back three. Well,
Mm-hmm.
actually, they actually played the back four. I mean, to begin with, they had Royal, Sanchez, Longley, and Davis in that back four. And then you had Bissouma, Skip in the middle. So it was 4-2-3-1 they were playing, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Bissouma and Skip in the middle. And then Kulusevski, Danjuma, Son behind Kane up front. And like you said, I mean, who would have expected that system? But it kind of worked very, very well in the first half, you know? And probably, I don't know if that confused Thomas Frank to begin with, you know, because, I mean, in terms of formation, we had this system where you're not usually used to. They either play 3-4-3, 4-3-3 rather. I'm sorry, 3-4-3, or you know, and or a variation thereof, whereby they switching before now and again. But today's was totally different, and it seemed to work very, very well. You think to yourself, where have Spurs found this new verve about them? You know, this season. I mean, it's like, I mean, Klaus, you saw that, didn't you? What did you think?
Yeah, I saw that, and when they started the match, it started like it was very good, well attacking and well organized. But I just think there's just something about the team, the structure of the team that collapses after a while. I don't know, maybe they lose concentration after a while because we saw the first half, we saw how good it was, we saw how everybody knew what to do, how front footed they were. But I just think at the little sign of trouble, at a little sign of maybe the other team decides to strike back, everybody loses focus. And then you see mistakes, common mistakes being made. You see that the passes are not flowing well as they should be.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what you just saw because immediately Brentford came in the second half and they started, they gave a little bit of pressure. We just saw that everything collapsed. Everybody started, the passes weren't flowing. It wasn't front footed as we used it. But that first half was good. It was very good. The back four, Kulusevski coming in as 10 to play, and the rotation was very good. It was perfect for that first half.
So, I mean, this is a classic game of two halves, but a classic game of two halves from a Spurs perspective always been a slow start, you know. And here we are, not conceding a goal within the first 15 minutes, but actually scoring one. And not only scoring one, but from well, some would say a Hurricane free kick. But okay, fine. You might want to sort of do the fine point of maybe, I mean, was what Skip sort of tipped it to him and opened up the space, but it was still a free kick.
It still counts as a free kick. I was wondering why people were
Yeah, so
debating that. People in free
well, I
kick,
guess
well, you touch it.
probably if we're being pedantic, if you like, you know. But yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic free kick. I mean, I've been one of those people who've been sort of
I
screaming
think
and
it's
saying,
kind of
look,
similar to the one Alexander Arnold scored during the week. It counts as a free kick.
exactly. So I mean, I'm one of those who was like always saying that, look, Harry Kane, please, 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 never, ever, ever go near any free kicks being taken because you always flop them up, you know. And he went. I mean, lo and behold, today, you know, yeah, I mean, he went and scored a fantastic goal. I thought that would have been the beginning of a what am I call it, a bit of a revival. And so a few things today, right? Danjuma making a first start, you know, in the Premier League. Granted, okay, last game of the season, you had a few stories being told today. So many stories there. You know, you got Hurricane, potentially all these people saying all these rumors about him leaving. Maybe this might be his last home game. You know, you had Mr. What's his name on the bench? What's his name? Lucas Moura, who said his goodbye. I mean, earlier in the week, and then we also have Bissouma making his first start after a long injury layoff. You know, Sanchez again making the starts, which is in a strange lineup at the back. If you look at the whole lineup, it wasn't what you might call a usual what you might call balanced lineup, if you like, from what we normally play. Dyer not even featuring at all. I mean, I think was he on the bench? He was on the bench,
Yeah.
but he didn't start. You know, so
Yeah.
it wasn't what you might call the traditional Spurs layout or formation, if you like, but they still did a good job in the first half. Now, was it a matter of Spurs taking the foot off the pedal, or a matter of Thomas Frank changing the system that Brentford were playing to counter, all of the open spaces that we're having in the first half? Because someone said something, during the first half, and which was alluded to what we said, in the match against Villa, and this was that look. Brentford seemed to be playing a high line, which was a dangerous game against the speed of the guys we have in our team. Now, Villa did the same thing last weekend, and we kind of said to them they totally disrespected us by even trying to play that sort of system against us because of the kind of people we have in our team. What was the difference today, Klaus?
I can't say it's the eye line, right? And I can't say it's because of Thomas Frank tactics. I just think it has to do with the sports team itself. Like I said earlier, they do crack under pressure. When little pressure is applied, I think that's the mentality of the team. Whenever there's pressure from somewhere, maybe from the attacking side, from the opponent, if an opponent sits back, Spurs are good. They prefer to attack, and but the moment those people bite back, those other players bite back, is the pressure. They can't right now. I don't know. We're the kind of team that when Mourinho was around, you can handle a 1-0 lead till the 90th minute, right? But right now, with any little attacking that comes from the other side, Spurs do crack under pressure. I think that is the problem right now. It doesn't. It has nothing to even do with the opponents because, as you can see, when in the second half, even when they scored, when they were 2-1 up, the entire Brentford team sat in their half. And Spurs were back to holding the ball and passing the ball around and trying to poke them and see how well to poke them to score a goal. But the moment they crossed the halfway line, everybody was jittery again. That's when Skip gave a loose ball and led to the third goal. So it has to do with there's something I don't know. Maybe we need someone that controls the ball more when we are under pressure. Someone that someone that takes the pressure off the team. Someone that we can easily pass the ball to when the team is under pressure. When they get the ball back, because when you look at it, time and again, after every ball they get, they kind of lose it. I don't know why. So I think that's the issue.
We were saying about this last week, weren't we? About how Villa, like I said, disrespected us by trying to play high line, and today we kind of we're able to punish. What's his name?
The ally is always a gamble against Spurs
Yeah,
because
Brentford. So what was the difference this time around?
Well, yeah, like we said, like we saw last week, Aston Villa were very lucky. Son had like three good chances that he could have put in the net. They were very lucky because if he had timed just one of those runs, well, would have had a goal, would have had an extra goal. So it just an offside rule is a very very thin line. You don't most times you don't want to play with. It's a very thin line. Sometimes your shirt can put you on onside. You've seen it before. The tip of your boot
Your little finger.
can put you onside. A little finger. Yeah. So it's a very thin line. You don't want to play with at all.
Yeah, Chuma, you were going to say something.
No, so I have a different opinion to Klaus's about Tottenham generally, and mine starts as far back as Pochettino, right?
Okay.
And it's this: the thing that Mauricio Pochettino did for Spurs that was so amazing was Mauricio Pochettino indoctrinated his players into playing in a certain way, which was that high press intensity. The first cracks in Mauricio Pochettino's team was when Kane stopped being involved in the high press. After his ankle injuries, he could no longer press full on. He can press, but not full on. And the striker needs to lead the press. But the players got indoctrinated into that system. Then Mourinho arrived. Mourinho soaks pressure and counters. But even while he soaked pressure and countered, he could never delete the mindset of Pochettino from all those players. Even with all his training. That's two. Conte comes in, and Conte is the same kind of way. Counter-attack with patterns. As soon as this happens, this happens. So you're coming in with a defensive mentality, right? And I've always said this thing. If your goal is not to concede a goal or make mistakes, you are focused on that, guess what's going to happen to you? You will concede and you will lose possession. Guardiola has the opposite mindset, and I think Pochettino has that mindset. I own the ball. I impose my will on you. Tottenham have a problem where they can neither impose their will nor soak up pressure. They are caught in these two mindsets. This is just my opinion. They are caught in these two mindsets. And what's happened is this. Throughout this season and last year, Antonio Conte has put that mindset of soak up pressure, check the patterns. If they lose the ball here, we counter like this. We counter like that. We build from the back. Ryan Mason has come in now, and I think because of the outcry of the fans, Ryan Mason himself is a fan. Ryan Mason has been hearing, we need to go back to front foot. We need to impose ourselves. So you're now taking players who have indoctrinated themselves in this pattern football. I said it before about Tim Sherwood years ago. When AVB was in our club, AVB used to play a 4-2-3-1 that was possession based, but he couldn't attack that well. So he had a great player in Gareth Bale that made it look beautiful. But as soon as Gareth Bale went, we saw it wasn't that good because it's just possession with no attack. In the junior team in the under 21s, I used to go and watch the games. Tim Sherwood was coach. Tim Sherwood played the same 4-2-3-1, but he played it more open, and his young boys were doing very well. Harry Kane, Ryan Mason, they were all in that team. And the reason they're doing well is he understood it better than AVB that English football is more about attack. But all of a sudden, Tim Sherwood gets to the senior team and decides to play 4-4-2 and loses it for us. So I looked at Conte's 3-4-2-1. The problem was not the fact that it was a 3-4-2-1. It was the fact that it was a very strict pattern defensive counter. And I said to myself, rather than try to turn this into a 4-2-3-1 or 4-4-2 or however he was doing it, he ended up with that system where Emerson would come in, they go back. I actually enjoyed that. But I still said in my head, a very good coach would still keep Conte's system, but make it better, which is what Tuchel did with Chelsea when he took over from Lampard. He didn't change their 3-4-3, but he made it better. That's what a good coach does. Ryan Mason is not on that level right now, where he could have looked at that and said, you guys don't have to change. But what we'll do is we'll change the patterns. He hasn't changed the patterns. Instead, he's gone for a total change of formation, which is still brilliant. But look at those players. They were ill-suited. I could have told him from the start, playing Danjuma on the right was already a mistake. Danjuma plays on the left. Even in 4-4-2s, when he was in Holland as a kid, when he has moved to clubs, he plays on the left. It's the same problem Richarlison has. It's the same problem Richarlison has. Richarlison, if he's not playing striker, plays on the left. We will never move Son from there. We will never move Kane. That's why Richarlison has been called a flop. He's never played long-term in the right position in a fixed thing. Danjuma playing the right, he can do it, but watch him for Holland, watch him for all the teams he's played for. Left, cutting into his right foot, and he scores. But he still did it because he wanted to play. So that system, it just didn't make any sense. Putting Kulusevski as a 10, I enjoyed it. I loved that first half. It was very, very good.
Sorry, speaking of the first half, sorry to interrupt you. I mean, like I said, within 10 minutes we scored. Harry Kane with a beauty, and it's like Harry Kane just keeps breaking records every match. I mean, the new record today, the first player to score in 25 different games in one season in this 38th match format that we've had at the top of the league. I mean, you have to just give Mr. Kane absolute kudos. I mean,
I would, but I would say something controversial. I said that to my friend who's a Chelsea fan. We just spoke now, and he called me, and I'll say it sounds very controversial, which is this. Harry Kane is great. I think someone on the group is also arguing that Kane is the cause of our misfortune. I don't think he's the cause of our misfortune as much as when you know there's a player who is going to bail you out of trouble all the time. It's the Messiah complex, Pardon me for those who are not religious. If you go to churches, they say, brother so-and-so knows how to pray. Everybody goes to brother so-and-so to pray for them. They never learn to pray for themselves. Spurs have players that can score 10 to 15 in that team, or should be able to score 10 to 15, which means the striker eats, but they eat as well. But we've gotten to this stage where it's Son and Kane. They're now more Kane than Son, you know. And I'm going to say this now, that if Harry Kane should he leave? Everybody says, what was the thing they said? We would be a mid-table team or we would be in the championship. This is what was said. And I said, it depends on who coaches us. If we get the right coach, the right director of football, they really do this thing where they're going to sell some players and get some new players in. I dare say that Tottenham could do better. Not that they'll do better like because he's the problem, but they could do better without him, because now he will not be there to save them. Everybody starts looking for solutions rather than Kane. But wonderful achievement for Kane, especially in a struggling team with no number 10 creating for him, no 2-8s creating for him like Haaland and the rest of them that are in that list. Brilliant achievement.
Well, so it's not his fault that he's been able to sort of do the things that he's doing. I mean, I'm not even sure that all those, who knows the future, because think about it. I mean, there's been people are forced to make changes to adapt to whatever situation they find themselves. Lukaku, I mean, absolutely brilliant player. I mean, he's been fantastic for whatever teams that he's played for. But anytime he leaves the team, they don't crumble. I mean, so it's not like you have. So people find a way. I mean, Klaus, you look like you want to say something.
Yeah, no, there's always going to be a war. Like you said, we've lost over the past few years. We've lost some of our best players. Look at when Gareth Bale left, right? Look at the likes of Luka Modric. We always find a way to play better. Like he said, if you are able to spread your goals across your front three, you're able to spread it across your midfield. Look at Arsenal. That was one major thing that helped them this season. They were able to spread their goals across their front three. Gabriel Jesus, Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli. They were able
Are
to
we
look
are
at.
we really talking about that team across the road from here? I mean, are we really discussing
No,
them?
no, 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 no. But
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. Kyle.
It's the point. He's right. 15.
No,
Each of
I'm
them
just
10
trying to
goals,
say,
10 assists. Yeah,
yeah, they have double figures. The three of
double
them have
figures.
double
All,
figures.
all of them. Yeah.
Look at last season without Haaland for Man City. We had Bernardo, we had Gundogan, we had KDB.
All of them,
Everyone.
10 goals. Yeah.
Yeah, if you spread your goals across your front three, even your opponents, they don't know who to mark because everybody is a scorer. When you're playing a team like Arsenal, you don't know who is going to score. You don't know whether to go for Saka or to go for Jesus or to go for Martinelli. Immediately you are able to see any team that performs well, that tops the league. Check it very well. It's not a lone figure that is helping them.
Real Madrid. Look at Real Madrid.
Yeah, look at
Same.
everybody spreads the goal. You spread as long as you can spread the goal across your players. Everybody is good. Everybody plays well. Everybody is playing. Nobody is playing to a particular player. Everybody is playing so that they can be better. Danjuma comes on. He's playing to score his own goal. He's playing to create an assist. Kulvesis comes on. He's playing to score his own goal to create an assist. Not that everybody is playing to cross to Kane. Everybody is playing to cross to pass to Kane so that Kane can score. No, you don't. You don't. So, if Kane leaves, I'm not saying I'm a fan of Kane leaving, but if Kane leaves, trust me, the team is going to be good. It's not. I don't think.
Depending on the coach. I
Yeah,
still
depending on
insist on this thing. The coach and
yeah,
the
I know.
identity.
I know it's not something most fans don't want to hear right now. I know it's something most fans don't want to hear right now. But if you look at the chairman's speech today, he said something that they are going to focus on the pitch success on the pitch, because I know you would have gotten the scope that okay, fine, we are successful as a club business wise, but what is happening on the pitch right now? We are not supposed to be here because when I was watching the match, the commentator said something. He said Spurs were attaining a particular height when they got to the Champions League final. Yeah, it was progress because over the years it was a gradual progress, being the top four constantly. In fact, no one will say whenever you're talking about Spurs at the beginning of the season, you already know they are going to be in the top four. Okay, so it's just a matter of are they going to win this cup? Are they going to what stage are they going to get to in the Champions League final? But right now, we're talking about Spurs. I don't even think when we're talking about next season, people is even going to consider Spurs as a top four candidate right now. That's we've gone back a whole lot. Champions League football, in fact, we are not making any mark. It's just
I actually, for me, I enjoy it. I actually think I wrote it down that even in my disappointment, I think it's a blessing when you burn everything, when everything gets burnt together. Like if we had won 6-7-0, it would have been brilliant. Don't get me wrong. Last home game, wonderful. But it would have papered over the cracks. Daniel Levy and his board members have no choice but to make sure they do not make a mistake. This time he can't listen to a Paratici telling him, don't hire Fonseca, hire
But
Nuno, hire.
at the end of the day, we all faulted him for not putting like Daniel Levy hiring a coach, hiring a sporting director. We all faulted him for putting his hands in this matter in the first place.
He was
Though,
right.
because, yeah, but at the end of the day, he knew what he was doing. He
He was
actually
he
knew
was
what
right.
he was doing.
He picked the right coach in my opinion then, because look at it. Paulo Fonseca, yes, you can say is the French league. Paulo Fonseca is shortlisted for coach of the year in France. You know,
Yeah,
with
it's
with
one of the
with
best
Lille.
people. His tactics were good and everything. I think he went for
You
Ten
know?
Hag. He wanted to also go for
Yeah,
Ten Hag. Yeah, so
yeah. Ten
I
Hag
think
Ten
when
Hag
he
failed.
knew,
Ten Hag failed it. Yeah, I think he had a good idea, but going back to Spurs and this season like I said, it's just for me every game we've lost since Antonio Conte left. You know, everyone says, well, he left us at top four. You know, and I'm sorry to keep bringing the man up. You know, he's in our past now. I respect Conte and I like him a lot, but I think we imploded because a lot of things had to do with him. And a lot of things had to do with him is there was a certain fear I saw in the players. You remember we had this joke like the reason we wanted Stellini to take over was because they played better when Conte was ill. There's a certain fear that was in Spurs authority to marshal them in training. I think that's what's missing. When you have a coach like Ryan Mason, and I like Ryan Mason a lot, I think he's tactically very smart. But I don't think he has that thing. There's this thing managers have where you look at them, everybody knows, okay, calm, calm. He's not the guy that can calm you down. He's not a man manager that can manipulate things. He's a very smart guy. He's tactically very sharp as well. So I look at those players and it's like they're lost. They're just they're just lost. And when the goals go in, it's like, whose fault was it? Who's this? It should be, let's go. Snap your hands. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. This is we're going. You're not seeing any of that with them. And you know, they're blaming players. They said, "Oh, Ben Davis stood off. He stood off twice. They scored. It was a good goal. Those are very good goals, but they came from sloppy mistakes as well. If you count the number of sloppy mistakes Spurs have made defensively since Antonio Conte left, it's why I said I don't quite understand coaching, where the coach has instilled certain things. How hard is it to continue in those things if you're part of the coaching staff? That's my own. Unless you wanted to change their minds completely, where it now turns to pot. And changing minds completely or staying with the same thing, I don't know what the deal is with Tottenham and that. But first we were conceding, second half we get better. Then we've now started doing better in the first half sometimes. Second half we turn to rubbish. So it's like, it's like expect the unexpected. What did we say yesterday, Soji?
Consistently inconsistent.
Consistently inconsistent. That's us. That's Spurs. I want this season to end, and I want it to end, and I want immediate action as soon as it ends. I just want rapid fire. Sporting director announce, bam, bam, bam. If it's slot, even if it's
announced.
Enrique, I would take them. Just do it now.
Yeah.
Right, so we are a bit of a shambles at the moment, right? According to everybody here, you inclusive Chuma, but and you as well, Klaus. So where are we? So I think, all right. Where does that leave us as a team? We'll look at that in a brief moment. But let's just go back to the matches for a minute and just see and sort of dissect some of the key moments. I guess like we had this discussion yesterday about getting a new manager and the effect having someone like Mason in charge could potentially have on our growth going forward if that's the route we chose to go. Well, I mean, obviously we've now seen that probably not a good idea considering
No.
I mean, the audition he's had so far. He hasn't sort of covered himself particularly in glory. But having said that, though, I think you got to give Thomas Frank kudos for the way he sort of change things in the match because he replaced Onyeka, didn't he? And
Yeah,
brought on Damsgaard.
Yeah, talking about Thomas Frank and Brentford this season. Well, let's leave Spurs alone for now. Thomas Frank and Brentford have done amazingly well when it comes to the top six, the top seven teams in the season. They beat Man U 4-0. They drew with Chelsea. They beat Man City in their first leg. They drew with Spurs in their first leg. They beat Liverpool 3-1. They've been doing when it comes to top six. If you check their results, they have 70% win of all the top teams in the Premier League, top six, seven teams. So they are doing well when it comes to because the style they play. I think it helps them a lot because they are kind of a low blocking team, and then they eat you fast on the counter. So when you're playing with teams like Liverpool and they are attacking you, all you have to do, they are well structured to contain the pressure, to hold on. And by the time they get the ball, they eat you fast. Mbueno, Ivan Tony, they run fast. We have Wissa, they run fast, they eat you on the counter, score their goal, come back, they stay back. And they don't crack under pressure. No matter look at I watched the first game they played against Man City where they beat them 2-1. They don't crack under pressure. No matter how much the pressure, you have Benmi. Benmi has been a very good addition to them this season. If you look at you see the beautiful block he did for Son when Son wanted to score the
for some,
second
yeah,
goal.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
to
it's
himself,
been a
yeah.
wonderful addition. Even in their first leg against Man City, he marshaled Alan and made sure most of the balls coming in were sent back out. So if you look at the way Brentford play, they are made to play top teams. Okay, they are made to contain pressure and then hit back. So playing against Brentford, when we say we lost to Brentford, well, I know Tottenham fans will be like, oh, that's but well, Brentford have been doing well against top teams this season. So that's my
Oh, by the way, by
opinion.
the way,
Yes.
by the way, on a side note, Aston Villa are leading Liverpool heading into halftime. So it's not that Spurs are is what I've been saying. Some of these teams are well coached. Emery is a
Yeah, if
wonderful
you look at
coach.
Aston Villa too, they are employing the
Yeah,
same
Thomas Frank, they
principles of
just have
Brentford.
an identity. So when they beat Spurs, a lot of people go, "Ah, look, Villa beat you, Brentford." But people are forgetting, and I said this on the group, is it not Brentford? I said, but where you and I did the preview yesterday, Soji, 3 wins out of 5.
Yep,
Spurs, 1 win out of 5. That's the team in form.
yep.
And then you look at who they beat. They're not beating,
It wasn't one win
they
out of five, but
actually
one win out of six.
1 win out of 6. There you go, 1 win out of 6. And they have 3 wins and 1 draw and
Absolutely.
2 losses. So
The
you look
same
at
thing
that
that
and you're
happened
thinking to
to
yourself,
like Brighton. Look at Brighton after
exactly,
losing to Everton, came to beat Arsenal. So
exactly. The thing was, Tottenham fans felt we were going to come in and wipe them last home match. And, once Kane scored, we said, yeah, of course we are. We're creating chances. But they defended in packs. They defended very well. And it's, for me, this season, what this season has proved to me, I think, more than any other season is if you can get your team organized, if you can get them playing to an identity, it does. Like Newcastle Brighton proved it for me because Brighton, yes, they rotated, but they were still trying to do that stuff. Newcastle played with chaos football. They played 4-3-3 with chaos, and they had 30% possession. Yet, what was the scoreline? 4-1, 5-1. And you're looking at it wondering, but it's their manager organized them. Eddie Howe has eaten so much when he was Bournemouth manager. He's been on the back of 5-1, 6-1, but he was learning how to organize his teams. Learning. So coming to Newcastle, he hasn't even spent the money, but he knows exactly, okay, I learned this from this. He played 4-4-2, 4-3-3, regular. But the players have bought into how he organizes them, and it just works.
yeah,
Spurs didn't have a guy that could do that for us this year,
yeah, I think I buy into
unfortunately.
what Mr. Chuma is saying because when you look at these teams, like he said, you have to have a structure. You have to have a coach that has a structure. If you don't have a structure, it's just like coming to the classroom. It's like putting students in class. Imagine putting your students in class and then you don't arrange the chairs how they are going to sit. And then you just tell the students, oh, just go into the class. I want to teach. How do you think they are going to sit? You just sit down
There
scattered.
you go.
They won't
There
sit
you
down on
go.
a row. They won't sit down in straight line. So you need someone to provide the structure. When you provide the structure, when you are done providing the structure, that's when the quality of each player will now come to play. Okay, look at
Mhm.
Brighton. I dare say Brighton don't have that quality yet. They don't.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
because of the structure of the team, every De Zerbi can now tell his board that okay, I need more quality
I
in
need
this
an
particular
upgrade.
area.
Exactly. I need an
I need an
upgrade on a
upgrade
player.
in this area. And the
Yeah,
board will be like,
and
oh yeah, you have a structure. We've seen it.
which
Everyone
is
has seen it. The whole Premier League has
100%.
seen it. So
Yeah.
it's like I said, when you get to the classroom and everyone is well seated, then you see that guy in the far corner, he can't see the board well. Then you tell him, okay, you on the far corner, stand up from that seat and come to the front. Because you already have your chairs, already have your tables, they're already set. Okay?
Until
So
we get that
yeah,
manager.
you have to
so
love.
if you don't get a structure,
Sorry to interrupt
you
you,
can't.
Klaus.
Yeah, no, no, go ahead. You have to love Nigerians.
Sorry to interrupt you, Klaus. You have to love your analogy. It's like having that sort of class sitting structure. Which is like
No, it's no, no, it's
it's
a
like back to
wonderful
basics.
analogy. 100%. And the thing is, like, Soji, we just need that coach, and that's all we need. Like, we need players. Yes, we need people organized. We need better players. But until you have, like you said, until you have the classroom, first you have the classroom, then you have the chairs and tables, then you bring the students in. Tottenham don't have that. You don't have a sporting
You don't
director.
bring the
There's no
students
vision.
in. You don't
Oh,
bring the students
okay.
in and
So
then tell them to
guys,
bring the
guys,
chairs and
guys,
yeah.
let's just
Go.
sort of hold it just for a few seconds, right? I'll tell you this for free. So here we are. I think just harking back a little bit to the Pochettino era, right, where we move out of White Hart Lane, you know, go play at Wembley while the stadium was being built. In that time, we didn't have that what you might call financial clout to be able to refresh the squad. And we've got a new stadium, having the best facilities in the league, if you like, in terms of the stadium, the coaching, the training ground, and the back end side of things, right? And I think if I recall, one of the things that Pochettino kept harping about was that there's no point having a lovely house,
Without
and he used the
furniture.
analogy of a house and furniture, and saying that he didn't put the right furniture into it. So essentially, we needed a squad refresh, which maybe came a little bit too late for him in quotes, because by the time he started the refresh with the likes of Ndombele, the likes of Lo Celso, and all those people that came in at that point in time, I mean, we hadn't gotten that blend back to give us the next level of push, if you like. And a lot of some of those signings probably didn't work out. But having said that, we are now in a position whereby, okay, we've spent a bit of money in squad refreshing. Okay, maybe a few areas still need some attention, and obviously some signings haven't worked out the way we expected them to work out, and where even some of them have worked out, they've been either been beset by injuries or lack of form in some of our key players. So, and then we had that what I call the Conte blowout, if you like. I mean, I thought Conte, everyone has a bit of a blame, a bit of a hand to play in the a bit of a part to play in the way things have turned out so far this season. I mean, like one of the pundits said on air today, looking at where Tottenham are, or where at the end of last season, everyone expected us to kick on and be not just top four contenders, but actually, vying for big things. Even if we didn't, even if sort of top four was almost like a given, like you said. It was now a question of say, oh, do we win one trophy or do we win two? Or, I'm kicking on from before, but if you think of things that happened to us, okay, fine. Had injuries to key players, the likes of Bentancur, Krzyzewski got injured at the time when he was hitting good form. Richarlison again came back from the World Cup on the high, again got injured, and Son season hasn't really quite hit the form that it hit in previous seasons. So a lot of those factors kind of came into play that might have influenced, and then of course Lloris hasn't been in great form this season as well. Now, for me, I think if we sort of do a kickback we probably don't need a wholesale set of changes to the team. Like you said, if we get a good coach or a good manager, again, it starts with getting the director of football. Getting the director of football in. You have that guy who's not starting until July. Now, for me, July is like too late in the season to make changes or to have an influence into how things go. But I feel that this is a good time to appoint a good director of football who comes in and helps the manager identify the targets that he wants to identify. They've been taken out in the preseason, and we always said it last season. We said it at the end of last season. I said, look, if we have a good preseason, it builds a good foundation for the season. Hello, we had a fantastic preseason.
Not exactly. And I'll tell you why. We were still playing the game of COVID, and Bissouma. I personally believe Bissouma lost out because of preseason, having not gone to Korea and played. I honestly believe that because of that, Conte made up his mind not to play him. It sounds petty, but I believe that once he didn't play those games, this guy made up his mind. I'm going to play Bentancur and Højbjerg. Forget this guy. He'll come on as a sub. Then he started the whole kerfuffle about he has to adapt to my system. And I'm sorry, if you've watched Mason play this guy in the last 2 games, he looked like Bissouma. Did he not?
Yeah,
but that preseason,
this is the Bissouma
the preseason, I believe that was the start of the disinterest of Antonio Conte. When we did not get Bastoni, I think it starts, and those things creep in. I'm not trying to blame him. He gets his part though. I think his disinterest started, and then his friend was going through a cancer battle. All these things creep into training, they creep into authority. All these things were happening in and around Spurs. And like you said, a lot of people don't understand how bad Son's form dropped off and the impact on Spurs. Son's form was everything, because imagine a Son scoring 27 to Kane 25.
Son with 20 goals, we easily put Spurs in the top 4.
Exactly. Yeah. But here's this chap now missing these goals. His confidence had gone. The more goals he missed, the more chances, the more he didn't play well, the more he kept turning over possession in the start of the season. And we were doomed from there. Then who was our savior? Rodrigo Bentancur. Very dependable in midfield. He's that player, Klaus, you're talking about. You need somebody to relieve pressure. Bentancur will glide with the ball small, take it out. All of a sudden, what happened? Fate strikes us a decisive blow.
Even scoring goals. Even Bentancur started scoring goals.
And then Bentancur gets injured. So Soji, to your point, I think you're right. We were dealt a very bad hand this season. Very, very bad hand. And should all these factors come together next season, Bissouma, Bentancur comes back in November, we maybe get another central midfield player. And we sort out defense. I think Sanchez, this was his last hurrah. I think this was his last home game, in my opinion. I think he's going to get sold.
Yeah, I think he's going to get sold. Tanganga too, we're going to get sold.
Tanganga and all these guys, we move them on and we get new players. I honestly believe.
I think Perisic is staying either.
Yeah, Perisic, I think, is gone. We are going to move away from the whole wing back thing. Even if we play wing back, it's going to be different. And I think you will see a better Spurs. I honestly believe that everything had to burn to the ground because we adapted our squad to fit Antonio Conte's needs. And look at what it has done to us now. We can't go to anything. We have no plan B, C, or D. And yeah, it's just been, the preseason was good, but it wasn't great because Bissouma lost out. Lloris, all these other guys, they played well, but you could see it from that Southampton game. The Southampton game, remember, we did that, we did the Southampton game, where they scored first, and we're like, what's going on here? All of a sudden, Spurs came back and won, and the whole next 8 weeks, we're just coming back to win every game. It was already the symptoms of what was going to happen, and nobody paid attention, and then the injuries.
And I think I remember Klaus being very anti-Conte at the beginning of the season, and I was saying that, look, Conte has been playing rubbish and we haven't been playing too well. Conte should go. And I was like, on the opinion that, look, Conte knows what he's doing, he's a winner, he knows what he's doing, and but ultimately I was proved wrong because I think he burned us down, honestly, because I think for me, right, as a coach, you need to take charge and have responsibility. Okay, fine. players to have their own responsibility as well. I think a lot of factors, if you like, contributed to how this season panned out for us. It hasn't been a good season thus far. I mean, last home game,
There's
you
this thing I
think,
always
okay,
tell
come up with a bit of flourish, which they did, to be fair, in the first half. But again, not having somebody of Mr. Conte's, what you might call tactical news, if you like, in those sort of key situations, I think may have not been helpful to a large extent. Okay, fine, you may not like Conte, but he knew how to manage games. You may not have liked him, but look, while he was there, we were still fourth by the time we left. Okay, granted, maybe it was fake fourth in the sense that, okay, a lot of teams around us had games in hand against us and all that sort of thing, and he had,
Yeah, there's one thing I was telling Mr. Chuma the other day, right? When Conte with Spurs and Conte with Chelsea, they were two different things, right? We played the same formation, but the way he handled Chelsea with the players they had, you see that when they had the ball, they were swift, they were good, and they were forward with the ball. When you compare to Spurs, immediately Spurs started this season, we were like, oh, okay, we get better game one. I remember that game one. It's like we won based on fluke. I think we won 3-1. It was
4-1.
fluky.
Forward.
The game was very shallow, but we won, and everyone was like, "Hey, we are rocking on beating." The second game, the third game. Now, there's something you notice when your team is consistently not playing well, right? I'm not saying you fluke one or two games and then you play well for the next 3 or 4 games. Your team is not playing well in game one, game two, game three, game four. You might win, but it's a fluke. It's just a veil. Because at the end of the day, if your team doesn't play well in 4 games, they won't play well in the fifth game because they're already fluking 4 games. They fluked 4 wins, and everyone was happy.
Sorry to interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt the class, right? But the classic thing in football is that everybody has a narrative for everything that's happening in any situation. And I'll tell you why I say that. Okay, some people will tell you that, oh, if you're not playing well and you're winning your matches, that's championship form. Yeah,
champions win when they don't play well.
People, exactly. When you say things like that, people refer you to Mourinho, right? Now, if you look at Mourinho doesn't play well. I put it in quotes. Doesn't play well in cup games when it is vital. If you check his league games, they play well. They play fine football with Pellegrini holding the ball and everything. They do play well. But if you see those cup competition, maybe just one leg, he has scored in the first leg. The second leg, he needs to hold on to that lead. He prefers to sacrifice everything just to hold on to that lead because it's just one game. He doesn't mind not playing well in that one game. You understand? It's not that Mourinho didn't play well. If you check Mourinho's last 6 games, they have possession, they have shots on target, they have shots off target, they are playing good football. But people will refer to that one game that Mourinho will play bad football because he wants to go. Yes, if that one game is worth it, he's going to hold on to his lead and play defensive football. That's what a good coach does. But it doesn't mean that you fluke 5 games in a row and then you're not expecting that, yes, we'll keep winning. No, you can't keep winning when you fluke 5 games in a row.
The thing I'll say as well is, as much as we said the system didn't require it, and I was one of them that said that Antonio Conte's system did not require a creative attacking midfielder. Even I, as a Spurs fan, I grown up adoring the Huddles, the Ginolas, the Gascoignes. You have that guy that can create. Just having that kind of guy. I've always enjoyed it. And the same thing, yeah, exactly. We've always had a guy. And then you look at Conte as well. You look at Conte's Chelsea side. He had guys that were fantastic players in terms of creativity. He had Fabregas. The problem was the minute Bentancur went down, Højbjerg is a defensive destroyer. I will say it from now till eternity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Højbjerg is a good player. He's not a very good player and he's not a great player. But he's a good player if you give him a job. And a job, break it, give it. Break it up, give it up. Those kind of guys, I like them when you're playing a system that requires them.
Just like Casemiro.
Beyond that,
there's so much difference between Højbjerg and Casemiro. Casemiro won't help you create. He won't create, but he will create the attack and then we'll give it to the next person.
Yeah, you give it to the next guy that knows what to do. And Tottenham now have a guy like that, but we don't have somebody he can give it to because Bentancur does the same work, but he does it elegantly. He'll break it up and move it
And
forward and run forward.
yeah.
But he needs that guy. It's like Dembele. Dembele needed an Ericsson. Ericsson enjoyed himself because Dembele and the others, their job, just collect that ball. Ericsson drifts, comes in deep. Ericsson collects. Ericsson's looking left, right, left, right, left, right. Spurs just didn't have that guy. And we were limited to this 3-4-3. I mean, watching Kulusevski today, I personally like a lot of people looked at this game in a negative way because of the result. But I saw stuff. I was like, here he is playing number 10. Hello.
Is there a reason? Sorry, sorry to cut you short. Is there a reason why no coach has ever tried Kane as a number 10?
But Kane has played 10. I think that's what he was playing. All those times we were winning last year, Kane was playing
No, no,
10.
no.
Kane was
Yeah,
dropping deep.
dropping deep. No, it was dropping deep. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
a contest
So
formation because
it was a false 10. It wasn't
it
a
was like
10,
a
but it was
false
doing
10.
10 work.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. During Jose's era, we would drop deep so that Son and the likes can fall into
Some will
the
run
role.
behind him. Yes,
It's
yes.
just
So
run. Yeah.
he's played 10, but Mourinho's thing as well was when he was in charge of us, Ericsson left. That was the Ericsson leaving. And he now tried to play Dele Ali there. It was like he had never watched Tottenham play. Dele Ali is not a creative 10. He's never been, never will be. And I think other clubs have repeated it. Everton and Besiktas tried it. And I'm like, didn't you people ever watch this boy at his peak? His job is
Just
to run in behind Kane. He
just play
doesn't do
Dele,
any.
play Dele behind the striker. That's it.
He playing behind a
Just
striker
play
and Dele
Dele.
will chop.
Just
He
play
will
behind
chop.
the striker. Dele,
I
Dele,
honestly think
Dele
that
is
the
like
managers
Muller.
haven't been watching.
Dele is like Muller.
But
When Dele started flopping, I was like, the world doesn't need another Muller because that's I call Dele Muller. Dele is Muller. Plays
and
behind
Tottenham for
Lewandowski.
and Tottenham for me this season, Kulusevski playing as a 10 today. We're going back to this game. Kulusevski playing as a 10, drifting in behind, touch, touch, touch. I enjoyed it. I thought it was sweet. That first half, I was loving it. I was like, this is what I've been saying. That this boy, he plays as a second striker for Sweden. So Sweden play 4-4-2. He plays off the striker, and the striker is Isaac, who is chopping goals. You know, so I'm
Well,
like, this. He got it smart. Mason got it right.
Let me jump, guys, for a few minutes because we have let's just take a few comments from guys who are watching us online. If you're watching us online, you want to join the conversation. Got Trueborn African says, "Nice to see you guys. Nice to have Klaus, who looks like Zeus." And obviously, the ever-present Trueborn Sachi. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much, Trueborn African. Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks for this. For those lovely comments. Keep the comments coming in. This is Come On You Spurs TV. Subscribe to the channel. We appreciate all of those who support us, and obviously we'd like to see more people join and obviously make this go to a lot more people. Yeah, of course, we enjoy your company, and yeah, we love having you guys here as well. Chuma, absolutely fantastic. Klaus, fantastic as well. Yeah, so we were saying, look, we need to have a change going forward, right? Now, obviously, for me, this represents an opportunity. I don't look at it like a bad thing. Like you said earlier on, I mean, if we had won this match, it may have papered over the cracks, and it may not have led to, well, I mean, it probably would sort of mean, okay, yeah, things are going well, but okay, we just need a few changes. But I think as we are now, this is an opportunity for us to have a good director of football in, right, who will hopefully provide that foundation. According to rumors out there, we don't know what the truth is, but the rumors suggest that things are looking a bit good in terms of potential for director of football, because we've got two candidates according to rumors. And again, the rumors, we don't know what the truth of the matter is.
I think the most important parts of the whole rumor thing is whatever sporting director they are looking towards. I think Mr. Chuma and I discussed it a few days ago. They are looking for someone that is good in data analysis, which is very important in today's football. Now, if you look at Brighton, they invested a lot in data analysis, and from the reports I've heard recently, Spurs have from last season to now have invested a lot into data analysis. So if they
Yeah,
could
but
get a manager,
honestly, sorry to interrupt you guys. I mean, sorry to interrupt you, Klaus. So
yeah,
this whole myth of data analysis is a bit of a red herring, because if you think about it, right, every team in the Premier League uses data. Every team. That is at the
Yeah.
core of what drives a lot
Yeah,
of teams today.
but I don't
Yeah,
understand so what do you mean it's a myth? Like, is it you mean a myth in a bad way or a good way?
No. What I
now,
mean by the myth that suggests that Brighton use it more than any other club. No,
no, no,
No,
no,
no,
no, no,
no,
no.
no, no. It use it
No, this
better.
this is what we are saying. This
They
is what
use
we are
it
saying now.
better.
Hold on a second.
People that
Let me
use okay.
explain. So let me see where I'm coming from. So you
Okay.
see, the myth there is that Brighton have this use of data analysis that other teams don't use data. No, what I'm saying is that look, every team uses data, right? Now, the outcome is what we should be talking about, i.e., what is the net result of the use of that data? How has it resulted in your team's
So that's what Klaus is saying. He's saying if you had a
No,
sporting
now,
director scouting system that told you, okay, we've got 4 players that we rate 8 out of 10 in our data.
yeah.
That sporting director and his scouting group now are the ones that go, all right, we'll pluck this guy. And Brighton have done it better. It's not so he's saying we've gotten wonderful data analysis
aside
equipment.
that, now this one I'm moving pointing to now. When you mention clubs like Manchester United, every club use data analysis. But what we see most times is most of these clubs they go to
We're going to buy
players that are
big
already
players.
renowned. Yeah, players are already renowned. When you get these players that are renowned, then they use the data to just support their claim that oh, okay, Bruno Fernandes,
Yeah, but
let's use it. Now, if you look
they
at someone like Brighton, if you look at the players they've gotten, look at Undev, look at Cisco,
yeah,
look at
but
Castillo.
sorry to interrupt you guys. So
Yeah,
again, this boils down to what model each team is going to be working towards. So I'll use that again. So um, the likes of Manchester City, right? They want
yeah.
results immediately. They don't want something that's
Mm-hmm.
going to be built over the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years. No, they want immediate results. So they want people who are going to fill that position and hit the ground running, right? That's the first point. Second point, that's the same model that all the top teams want to employ. They want people who will hit the ground. Most of the top teams. Let me explain, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because if you go to if you adopt a model that sort of says, oh, we're going to build you into maybe in 2, 3, 4 years, 4 years down the line. Or I mean, sorry, the fans are going to be the same people who are going to be saying that you have adopted this what I call shoestring budget type approach to find a cheap player and use it to one as well. So we will be the first same people who would criticize Levi in quotes if we use that same model in Tottenham to but Brighton are Brighton. Brighton are not the top club, right? Brighton have a limited budget. They have what they call, and so they've gone to an approach that favors that sort of approach whereby you find very, very low price players, right? Bring them in and get a good coach who would use the talents. If we use that system in Tottenham and it works, fantastic. If it doesn't work, you look like a mug, and everybody will come out and tell you that, oh, Mr. Levi has done it again. Sorry, you're going to say Chief Chuma. You want to say something?
No,
Yeah,
I
let him.
so I hear what I hear what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying, and I get it. But what you're saying is using it to buy low cost players, right, and playing them because of right. So you got it right, but you got it the other way around. Every club has data analysis usage to the kind of club they are.
Absolutely.
Spurs are a big club that do not pay what? High wages. Neither do we pay incredible transfer fees. So for us, that is useful to find a mid player, not a low player.
Yeah.
So we are looking for a Song Heung-min, while Man City are looking for Haaland. Man City don't need data analysis for Haaland. They get requests from their manager. The big teams get the request from the manager. He's not data analyzing out. He knows the players he wants. Tottenham, on the other hand, we can't go for Haaland because the minute we go for Haaland, they'll tell us 80 million, 300K in a week in wages. So what's
Like
Tottenham
of
to do? So our
the likes of
model
You mean
actually
400?
Anthony.
fits with.
Manchester
Yeah.
United don't need
So
data analysis
our
for
model.
Anthony.
So yeah.
They don't need it for
Yeah.
Sancho. They don't
Exactly.
need
Look at
for
Anthony.
what's
So
the other-
our model requires us, because of the model, you got it right. Because of the model, Daniel Levy has no choice. It's Moneyball. If I can get 3 guys for 100 million that can give me X, but they don't have to be low. Tottenham are not looking for low. So while these guys went for Unda, we went for Song Heung-min. Song Heung-min cost us how much then when we got him from
20
Leverkusen?
million.
20-something million. But the other guys were going for were 50, 45 and 50. We went for 25. So we could have gotten another guy for 15 or 10. But that's what a Brighton would do. Tottenham go middle. Yeah, Tottenham go middle. So I honestly think I go the other way than you said, which is, yes, you have the data analysis. I think it now comes down to that sporting director, your manager, and his scouting team to go, okay, we have 4 guys. These 4 guys are each worth 15 million. We've watched them play. Now pick. And that's where Brighton shine. That's where actually Brentford are actually the team that actually do that more than anybody else, but nobody notices.
Yeah, nobody notices.
Brentford owner is the betting this thing guy, Matthew Benham. Matthew Benham brought Moneyball to England. He's the one who brought this data thing. All his players he was buying for Brentford were all scouted from. He got it first, then Brighton also got it as well. They look for players that nobody would touch, Moneyball wise, that will come in, good wages, good price, and play well. Tottenham have middle.
For those of you who don't know about Moneyball, refers to the first guy who works with EVSKI Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So so Tottenham to me now, like Klaus is saying, we've gotten amazing data analysis. Tottenham have wonderful scouts. I keep hearing on the group when we write on the group, Tottenham scouts are useless. Tottenham scouts are amazing. They have found players over the years, but it all came down to either the sporting director not wanting them, or Daniel Levy going, yeah, I'm not going to do this. We've got him. We knew Sadio Mane even before he came into this country. We knew Sadio Mane. Tottenham knew Sadio Mane. But it's a question of, do you bite the bullet? Daniel Levy at that time was micromanaging.
I think we knew.
Yeah, he wouldn't want to. Yeah,
before
Bruno Fernandes. You know what I think? You said something earlier, Soja, about Pochettino. You said something about when we got him in Ndombele too late. That season we got in Ndombele, a lot of those deals were protracted. They took a long time, right? And it wasn't exactly. So now he got him to the stadium. He thought, you're going to give me what I want. Daniel Levy started again. I'm going to go for this guy, this guy, this guy. Bruno Fernandes. He wanted Bruno Fernandes. He could see that Eriksen had to go. He wanted someone who would just slot straight into the Eriksen thing. And then he dilly-dallied over Bruno Fernandes. Ryan Sessegnon, he wanted to get him, but he also wanted to get another player as well. All those things. This guy, and he just got depressed. He got some kind of transfer depression. And by the time he got Ndombele and Lo Celso, preseason had started. Ndombele joined our preseason. Lo Celso came at the end of it. So you look at what they did to him, and you understand why the guy just said, you know what? You got your stadium, you have the money, but now you still don't want to spend the money. Then Mourinho arrived and there was COVID, so there was no money.
Money to be honest, but so we just sort of managed to squeeze the money out basically. Carry on, but yeah, it's
So I honestly think that right now Tottenham are in a good place financially to do more. I think even if they have 150 million, 200 million next year,
not particularly a great place, but
I don't
personally, a better place.
Yeah, personally, I don't think they need too much players. I don't think they need more than 3-4 players with a good coach. Personally, because by the time you look at the
so let's just sort of look at personnel and performance today, right? I thought in terms of goalkeeper, for instance, let's look at the performance of the players, individuals, and see. I'm not trying to sort of cast or make people look bad here. Okay, so I mean, for me, the goals that Brighton scored Brentford rather scored were all avoidable goals from the point of view from a Tottenham perspective. Look at the first goal, for instance, right? It was way too easy for Mbeumo to sort of cut in and take that shot. And then he took that shot. I just thought, okay, maybe Foster could have done a bit better as well. I mean, is it me or am I being a bit too critical?
I think he went low. I think he went low late because somebody blocked the curve of the ball.
Right. Okay.
So he thought they were pushing him, and then he just took the shot, curled it. I think I watched it again, and I said Foster went down low late. If you had gone down early, I'd have touched that. So I don't know if he was blocked off a bit. I don't know, but I think like you, I felt he could have saved it. But I'm now saying, did he see it early? Did he see it late?
Right. So second goal. I mean, all right. So you got the ball, and for me, Davis went the wrong way. I thought he should have followed the guy who was running
No,
with the ball, but he followed
the pass
the wrong guy.
was the
Sorry,
pass
Kyle.
was the pass was explicit. The pass that was given to Buemo, Davis was facing the ball, and before he could turn, the pass had gone through because Buemo was already making the run. So there was no way Davis could have covered that
without
run,
fouling
right?
him. Yeah.
Yeah, there was no way he could have covered the run because he had gone ahead of him, and the pass was straight down. So
So
I
that,
don't
that was a
think
Longley. That was between him and Longley. Longley should have covered
You
that
think
position.
yes,
Longley should have covered it, and also Davis did not do himself any justice because
Ex-
by allowing that pass, he was watching the ball and his guy was moving. As a
yes.
defender, they tell you as your guy's starting, you have, especially if you know you're slower. But yeah, defensive mistakes.
And then the third goal. I mean, come on, what's Skip doing, losing the ball in that particular area? Because I mean, he was. I mean, why didn't he pass the ball? It was very simple to pass the ball, but he did it, and he got taken off. I mean, the ball got taken off him so easily. Come on, come on. I mean, and
Well, it's
I'm
it's
watching
one
I'm
of those
watching
things.
people and the what's the word and the TVs cameras were focusing on Bissouma, thinking, what does Bissouma have to do with in that situation? That was a skip error,
It was
hundred
a skipper.
percent. You know,
Skip
it was
yeah,
skip dropping the
that was
ball
all skip.
and just putting us in very very
Bissouma
difficult
actually
position.
was
You know,
good to be. Yeah.
and David Raya. I mean, come on, that guy. I think we need to have him in our team. Am I being
What 50 million?
Well, I mean, I'll pay it. I'll pay it. I mean, for
I know. Ryan knows top clubs will likely be coming for him because
Yeah,
we
they're
know
coming for him.
Chelsea needs a keeper, Tottenham needs a keeper, so it's kind of going to be like a bidding war, and we do know that Levy is not the type that likes to go into bidding wars.
I, I,
So
I told
that's
I told I told everybody who he's going to buy. Nobody believes me. He's going to
who's
buy
that?
Gavin Bissouma of Southampton. That's who we're going to buy.
Bazunu.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because it's going to be like
But
a cheap.
he's going to buy Bissouma because Bissouma is going for 10 to 15.
Yeah, and if you look at Bisuno, he has good stats too. Very good stats.
Bissouma is a good goalkeeper. He's a good, but we're going for go for him
I think,
or go for Albin Lafont. All these guys are between 10 to 20. We're not going to
10
go
to
higher
20.
than 20.
Yeah. It's just going to be like when Arsenal got
Bazunu is not a
Ramsdale.
bad choice, to be honest. I mean, I like him. He's not a
Bissouma
bad.
but the best part is everybody knows modern football now. I mean, if you look at any tactical video, the goalkeeper is virtually a member of the defense. I mean, if you're watching Brighton,
Yeah.
Jason Steele is English. You know, he's not. Jason Steele is making the England squad. Mark my words, the next England squad, Guy Southgate is picking him because that guy knows how to use
What
his
happened
feet
to
to make
Sanchez?
passes.
What happened to Sanchez?
Which one?
Sanchez, their former the goalkeeper, the number one.
He was
What
just
happened
been
to him?
He
injured.
got displaced. So no, he got injured.
No, he's not
Jason Steele
injured.
came in, and then no, he got injured. Jason Steele came in, and then all of a sudden, the Zerbi finds out that Jason Steele is better on the ball than the guy. So he's like
Yeah,
Jason
but
Steele is a
I,
better
I,
with
I,
his
didn't, I
feet.
don't think he covered himself in
So,
glory in the match against
so most likely Sanchez will be
Newcastle,
available
though.
this summer too.
So Sanchez is on Tottenham's radar because Sanchez as well did not renew his contract. So it's perfect Daniel Levy environment. He has a year left. Sanchez has a year left. So it was our supposed list at one point was Sanchez, Raya, Bisunu, and someone else. Those are the three we're really considering. And
Okay.
let's see what happens next. And then and Mendy. Mendy is trending right now to Spurs. I think his agent is really trying to push.
Yes,
When
But
is
yes.
he's
when,
very
when
bad.
is
He's very
21?
bad
Okay, I
with his
guess
feet.
21 is not old for a keeper, but I think we need
He's
someone
too
that.
bad. He's bad with his feet. He's not very
Yeah,
good with his
he's
feet.
not that good with his feet,
And
and
I
he's
don't think
Not very good with his
Tottenham.
feet.
prone to
Yeah, and
the
I don't think
odd
Tottenham will
clanger.
want to get Mendy because if you are getting Mendy, you have to have a very good backup because when Mendy goes for African Cup of Nations,
No,
what
yeah,
happens to him?
that. But he's also bad with his feet. I don't think short stoppers. We're not looking for short stoppers anymore. We're looking for
Almost every
distributors. You
keeper
need.
is a showstopper.
Yeah, exactly. Some are better than others. I still think Hugo Lloris is a very good shot stopper. I still think he's smart in shot stopping. It's crossing, getting the ball from crosses, and using his feet and getting muddled
Using
up.
his feet,
That
yeah.
Hugo Lloris's kryptonite. But Tottenham today, I think a lot of defensive mistakes. Why did he rotate certain players out? if it's the last home game.
I think Messi right now, like I said, like I always say before, Messi is within the age group of Kane, Dyer, and the likes, right? So Messi right now, I think when he looks at his squad and he looks at someone like Sanchez, Dyer has already signed a new contract, so Dyer has nothing to prove, right? You have someone like what's his name, Sanchez. That okay, Sanchez, let's see what you have. Now it's of two things. Sanchez, he said that you play good for the club and people like you back, or you play good and people and you're a good prospect for other clubs that want to sign you, like
Right.
Sevilla.
Okay.
Because if you don't play these guys, for example, I was reading an article concerning Tangaga. Tangaga last season, he had a good price. I think AC Milan wanted to get him for 15 million. But this season, I don't think they'll get. I don't think you can sell Tangaga for 10. No one will buy it for 10 because
No,
they've not
I,
actually
I,
seen him.
I funny enough, I worked with Tanganga's cousin last year. I was working
Okay.
with Tanganga's cousin, and he told me, he told me clearly, he said to me, Tanganga, if you're watching, you can refute this. He said that the family had already met, like not one, two or three Italian clubs wanted him, and he wanted to go, but Conte said no. Conte blocked the deal.
Yeah,
That
Conte
Conte
blocked
said
it.
it.
I think
And then Conte
Conte
blocked the
said
deal,
he
and then
wants
Conte
to.
didn't play him. And so the boy is very disappointed because he said, okay, fair enough. I'm not going to play for Spurs. Let me move. And we could have used that money to do something. But Conte blocked the deal, saying, I want to keep him and I want to keep him homegrown status and all that stuff. Where you've not played the boy. His skills have diminished, whatever he had. I mean, Tottenham have the habit of doing this that annoys me because I don't know if you got Scottish League. Celtic have our ex-player,
Yeah, and the
the
funny part
American,
is most of these good
Carter
players,
Vickers.
most of these young players, they developed under Pochettino. I think Tanganga came up under Pochettino stroke
Coach.
Mourinho.
Yeah.
Mourinho used
Yeah.
him. Yeah, there you see the likes of Foyt. Then Foyt came up and Foyt was very good.
Foyt is
Even
going.
Foyt was so good
Foyt is
to
going to Barcelona. Foyt is going to
yeah,
Barcelona this
Foyt
summer.
was so good to the extent that at that age he made it to the Argentine squad.
But
Foyt was
certain members of our fan base that are on our group, you know yourselves, Zeus and the like, they know themselves. You guys were anti-Foyt. You insulted Foyt. It's you know what's so amazing about Tottenham? Sorry to put this in. What's so amazing is I went online today and all I could see were people talking about Hill and Lamella and
Ilan
Boring. I
Lamela.
said,
I'm like,
all the people you guys insulted, you said we should kick them out of our squad. You are now joining to say, look at how good they've become. No,
Yeah,
they were always like that. You didn't
absolutely.
want to play
They did that
them.
to Trippier,
Own
they
up.
did that to Walker, you know?
they did that to Trippier, they did that to Walker.
You
They're
did that
doing
to
that to
Trippier. You
Davis
did it
now.
all these players.
Everyone is doing
You
that to
said
Davis now. I'm like
Brian
if
Hill,
Davis leaves,
Brian Hill chopped a lot. I said Brian Hill. My problem was I said I wish this guy we had a front foot manager because this boy I know he can play, but this Conte system he will never play it. He can't. He can't play for Conte. It's impossible. But look at him. He was in, and everyone said he's a winger. He was in half spaces in that match like, for Sevilla. He was like a 10. He was like David Silva. I
he
was
has
watching it. I
space to
go,
run
this is
around. I
exactly
was
what
watching
I
him
was
like
saying.
Rakitic was giving him the ball and he has space to turn do some crossovers and I was like, damn.
But the same fan base, our
So
same friends that are writing comments.
yeah, looking
Same
at the
thing.
squad like we're looking at, okay, in terms of performance. So I mean, for instance, I mean player ratings. I mean for Foster, I mean over 10. What would you give him? Very quickly, let's go through them very quickly. Foster.
He was to blame for that first. He was sort of to blame for not seeing it early or whatever. So
Right.
Foster, I'll give him a 6. I'll give him a 6.
Right, so 6. Okay,
The goals
fine.
are the goals.
Emerson Royal.
I'll give Foster a 5.
Will you give 5?
Okay.
Yeah, because his kick outs, when you watch most of his kick outs, you saw that he was kicking the ball. I think there was a time he tried to pass towards Kane that led to an attack. He kicked it directly to a Brentford player that led to an attack. So his kick outs, apart from the fact that he's trying to, his kick outs are not, the passes
I
are
thought he did
not.
quite well in the first half because he had a chance. He actually had a very good header that Raya saved, you know, from the cross from Son. I mean, in the first half, and that would have been a certain goal had it not been for Raya, you know.
No, you're saying Foster.
No, I'm
Sorry?
talking about Foster.
You said Foster.
I
You
was
said
talking
Ryan.
about, I was talking about Emerson. Sorry, I was talking about Emerson.
Oh, you mean
Oh,
Emerson?
okay.
Okay. Sorry.
Yes, I was talking about Emerson. I mean, I felt
Oh,
Emerson.
we haven't rated Emma. We haven't rated Emma. Emerson is
Emerson.
same thing. I'll give Emerson a 6 as well. Nothing great, nothing bad.
Yeah, I'll give him a 6 too. He did fairly okay today.
Okay. Sanchez.
5.
I'll give Sanchez I'll give him a 5.
Sanchez a
I'll
5.
give him a 5.
Okay. And then Longley.
Langley to a 5. Longley has to cover up for. Longley, he has. I
Long,
think
long, 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 Longley. His
a 5.
problem in the back four is he's slow. So yeah,
He's
same thing.
slow.
5 for
Yeah,
him.
so he can't cover up for his fullback. So it's always a
He can't. He can't.
problem.
He can't catch up. He's a
He can't
luxury
catch.
defender, but in a system it can work for him. But for us now, no, he's a 5.
Yeah.
And I'll just preempt it. David's 5 as well.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
So,
I'll give
and
Davis a
then
5. Yeah.
Mr. What's the one? Davis. Gosh, yeah, I think he had
Right.
a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll
Two
give him a
goals from
4.
him. So
a
I'll give him 4.
5
I'll
or
give him
4,
a 4.
four and
high
a half,
cottage, you know.
4 and a
4.
half,
I'll give him 4. I'll give him
4
4.
and a half.
Not
I'll
that
give him
he's
four
not
and
a
a
good
half.
player, but
4.5.
today was just not his day. Yeah.
Right. Okay. On the other side, we have what's what?
Two midfielders.
Bissouma.
Two midfielders, Skip and Bissouma. I thought Bissouma balled really well today. I mean,
7.
No, I'll give Bissouma a
Straight up
7.
7.
I'll give him a 7.
7.
I'll give him
7.
a 7.
He looked himself.
He looked
He
very
looked himself.
free. He looked and his passes were good. He didn't put the passes to the back or to the front. He gave everyone their passes.
I
And
think he only passed once. He passed back to in that first half. He passed back to Foster once, and Mason was very angry because Mason was like, "No, we need to keep going forward, 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 vertical, vertical." So that's the only time. Rest of that, he was always looking for a positive
his short
pass.
passes were
So
good, were
yeah,
measured. His short passes were very measured. You know, there are sometimes
he,
that
he,
OBA gives his short passes and he overplays it,
yeah,
and the player is
no,
stretching
he's
to
going.
get it back.
It's
No,
going to be so useful next season.
it's going to be
Honestly,
massive.
I rate
I
him.
can't wait
I
to
rate him.
see
So
Bissouma and Bentancur, and it fits Bentancur. I can't wait to see both of them play
so you're
together.
saying who was going to be useful for next season? Skip?
Bissouma, very
Bissouma, of
useful,
course, yes,
very,
without a
very
doubt. I
useful,
think for next season
very
it will
useful.
be a real key performance for us going forward. I think hopefully we'll have Bentancur back, but Bentancur is not back until November, I'm told. So that probably
No,
At
I
the
know
back
at
end,
the
yeah.
at the longest, I think he will come back before then. But at the longest, they are
Yeah, he
putting
will come
November
back
as
before
the date
then. I think they're just putting just to make sure that everything.
just to
But I
make
think
sure.
it will be
I've
to
seen him
manage
manipulating the
expectations,
ball.
He's in
presumably, right?
training already. He's in training. Like he's been
He's been training. He's been using his feet. I've
rehabilitation.
seen him.
Yeah,
I've seen videos. He's using his
yeah.
feet already, so it's all
Oh,
good.
oh, great. Okay, so
I think Betaki Bisuma. We were told Bisuma was not going to play this
Well,
season
he
again.
said the exact same thing.
Yeah,
Bissouma would not be
Bisuma
in for
was
the
not
whole
going to
season.
play, and he came in. So I think we're good.
right. So if
Yep.
the attack, I think you had a 4-man attack today. So we had Danjuma.
So we haven't talked about Skip.
Yeah, Skip. Sorry, Oliver Skip. I mean, so tell me, guys. I
Three.
mean, Skip. What happened there?
Three.
You want to give me a
I'll
3?
give him I'll give him a 4, not a 3 necessarily.
I'll give him
3
a
or a
3.
4?
Complimented,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think for
complimented
giving away that
Bissouma.
was just so poor from him. So that would probably give me a 4 or 3 for me as well. So what about Kulusevski?
I'll
That
give
was interesting.
Kulusevski. I'll give him a 6 because he had a mixed. The first half was
I'll give,
good.
I'll
The
give, I'll
second
give it
half,
6 and I'll say 6.5 because the first half he was tapping. He was
yeah,
really tapping. Second half he was just non-existent.
yeah. So I'll
So
give him 6.
I give him 6.5.
And then Son?
I
Same
give
thing
Son
with
a
Son.
5.5.
Danjuma.
I won't give him a 6, but I'll give him a 5.5
I'll give
because he
I'll
had
give
a
I'll
lot of
give
good
him
balls.
I'll give him Danjuma had a chance to score in that first half, that header
Yeah.
that went wide.
Mhm.
So but I think he was played out of position. So I can't give him more than a 5.5 as well. Like it was out of position, he didn't affect the game as much. Really sad, you know. And then yeah, that's it. So Son 5.5, Danjuma 5.5.
Right. And then Mr. Kane.
Kane will
7,
always get a 7, 8. Yeah, you get a
7,
Top
8.
7,
performance
8,
today
7.
Kane and
You get
Bissouma,
an
basically,
8 from
right?
me today because he played well. He tried to drop deep. He tried to lace up. You get an 8. I think he
He
did
tried that.
everything
He
he
tried
could.
that chance that Kulusevski gave to him. That he had a wild shot. If
I
Kulusevski
think
had gone
no.
left,
I
he would
think
have
I'll
given
take
it
it
to
back to
Son.
7. Yeah, I think I will take it back to 7 because he had a chance to shoot on goal. He could have passed or
Yeah,
shoot, and he didn't.
yeah.
So I
And
take it back.
his first touch let him down quite a few times as
Yeah,
well. There's
Yeah.
So
certain
I'll
times
give
his
him a
first
seven.
touch led to them collecting the ball off him. So I'd say seven and a half.
I think it led to the first goal too. Like while he
Yeah,
was trying to control the ball. Yeah.
his poor touch led to losing possession. Yeah, turnover of possession was him. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I give him.
Um, overall, next steps for Tottenham. I mean, who do you think is coming in? Arne Slot or Rogers or Amoran?
I really don't mind. I really don't. Everyone is screaming on his slot. The guy's press conference has more or less. But remember, we had Fonseca up until Paratici. So I want to see who the director of football is going to be first. And if the guy
Yeah,
agrees,
I
it's
think
slot.
I
Because
think
you
I
can't.
think the I think the director of football determines everything right now, because the director of football, he has these options that will be laid down before him. That okay, so who best can you work with? What is your strategy? So I think that would determine. Like we saw Fabrizio reported, the director first before any other thing. So we have these options. I think the preliminary interview has it was for Levy to know that okay, these options are available. Then when you now bring in the director, it now determines okay, this is the person I can work with. This is the kind of style I can work with. So I think the director of football determines who the manager is. So we should be focused on the director of football, not the manager, because
But on the flip side, I honestly believe that this is just my belief. I think Daniel Levy has looked at Slot and looked at his CV. This is a man who took a team, AZ Alkmaar, but for the COVID thing where they canceled the Dutch season, he was going to win the league with AZ Alkmaar.
Wow.
He now leaves AZ Alkmaar and joins Feyenoord, brings Feyenoord from eight. So basically, if you listen to the Feyenoord fans, they will tell you, I'm on some of them on Reddit and all. They say we were like where Spurs are is what happened to us. We were the third best team in Holland. We went down to seventh, eighth. This guy came in and in a season turned us to third, took us a European final where he lost to Mourinho. The next year, he lost seven of his best players and won the league. If that is not Pochettino bound, I don't know who is. So I think Daniel Levy is looking. I think Daniel Levy's whole thing
I
will
think
be,
that's the kind of model that anyone will
yeah,
be looking at.
I think Daniel
Like
Levy will
this.
want to secure slots and then tell the director of football, listen, I've got this guy and there's no turning back. The way it's coming out, no, nothing has, yeah, Nagelsmann leaked a bit. This one has leaked a bit too much for me not to believe that they've they've tapped him and he's agreed. I don't know why. There's a way this one has leaked. Nagelsmann leaked that, oh yeah, we're having
Why do I
preliminary
have a
talks.
feeling that why do I have a feeling that if he gets the Bayern former sporting director, why do I have a feeling that if they get that guy, they might have a look at Nagelsmann again?
I know,
Because
no, I think Nagelsmann is done because in the back of my mind, I looked at the whole thing and I looked at hunger. One of the things you want in your manager, if you're a team that isn't a top team or hasn't hit the heights,
yeah,
you
it's
want a
younger.
manager who will not look down on your club. Nagelsmann has the ability to look down on Spurs. You know, he has the ability to go, I'm bigger than you. I could have gotten better than you. You know, but
Yeah.
this slot guy is looking at Tottenham like an opportunity to stamp his name in Europe now that I've
Yes.
come.
Yeah,
And
I want to work.
himself.
I think that's what yeah, that's the main thing.
Yeah,
He's looking at it
him and
to make a
him and the
name.
Portuguese guy Amorim, they will look at Tottenham as work. I have to do this work to make my name. But Nagelsmann, Real Madrid liked him, PSG liked him. You know, Chelsea talked to him. Chelsea were literally going to offer him the job. He had one or two problems. So in his mind, I've done better than you. So if you don't give me what I want, and Luis Enrique is the same. Luis Enrique is a big manager. He's worked with big money. He's worked with big players. So there's a propensity to look at Spurs and go, listen, I'm doing you a favor taking your job. But this slot guy, the more I look at him, the more I look at this guy, like, this guy wants to show I am this genius. I'm good.
It's
Mourinho, the
like
same thing when
Tenag.
he left Porto to
It's
come
like
to Chelsea.
Tenag.
Mourinho wanted to prove a point in England, and it worked. So I think you should be looking for coaches that I want to turn Spurs into a juggernaut. That's the kind of guy I want. So, and if you look at him, even Rogers to a point, I think Rogers has been so disrespected now. Brendan Rogers. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but
I think
Definitely not my
Leicester
cup of
he
made
tea.
has
him
a chip
Definitely
on
not.
his
compete
shoulder. He can't
very
do better
well.
than Spurs now. Before he could talk, I can do better than you. Rogers can't do that no more. Nobody's touching Rogers. That is a big team, except Spurs. If Spurs go for Rogers, so I'm
Yeah.
just looking for a guy who has an attacking
What would you
bent. And
say?
I
What
look
would
at,
you say if Spurs look towards a Deserbi? I know it's far fetched, but
I
what would you
want
say?
Deserby, but I just think Deserby now has. My cousin actually said it to me this morning. He said to me, "You guys should be breaking your necks for Deserby." And De Zerbi himself, he's making a classic mistake. He's thinking that, oh well, I now have leverage. He's forgetting that everybody is
He's
watching
forgetting.
him, that they're watching him, and if all it takes is 4 losses next year and he's sacked. He doesn't know the
Yeah,
EPL the
yeah.
way we know the EPL.
That's one thing I was trying to look at
All it takes is
because
3 losses,
he
and these
starts
same fans who
going
are
back.
screaming about him. But if he moves to Spurs, it's the same thing. Pochettino, you remember when he left Southampton? Southampton fans hated him. They say, if you're giving us one more, no. Southampton went backwards after him. Yeah, they got Koeman and all, but they were never the same. So Pochettino made the right move. I look at De Zerbi. If De Zerbi joins Tottenham this summer, it would be the best thing he would do, honestly. But I don't think he'll move. I think he'll stay. But they're finding Brighton out a bit, maybe. This is Mr. Gamble. Hello.
I think
This is
Brighton.
his second
I
season.
think like their director always says, for everyone that is in the club, I think Brighton is a well-run club. When I say it's a well-run club, they have this philosophy that everyone is dispensable. I think I saw a podcast. I read an article that that was quoting their sport director. Everyone is dispensable. They will tell you that for everyone that leaves the club, they have someone already in place to replace
Until
the
it
person.
breaks, until it spoils.
Yeah, so they have if Zebi is leaving today, you'll be surprised that Brighton have already prepared another coach that they scouted.
Until it
If a player
spoils.
is leaving, so I think if the Zebi wants to leave today, I think Brighton will just be like, you know what, Spurs pay up, because I think they're all about the money.
Yeah, but
They
there
just
will come
like
a
Spurs
point
to pay.
where there'll come a point where you break that mold. All these clubs think that they are immortal. The same thing with the scouting. They are scouting great players. There will come a day, because something else we're not noting about Brighton is Tottenham have the capabilities of going to Brighton and taking their best scouts. Whoever their best scout is, we can get him. Instead of disabling your club, I'll just disable your scouting system. I can pay your scout 10 times more than you're paying. So, everyone's saying how great Brighton is, and it's true. But all it takes is, everyone thinks it's forever. Nothing in England lasts forever. Alex Ferguson got class of 92. He never repeated it again. Where did we see any more youth players from Manchester United become the greatest? They started stealing kids. Rooney, Cristiano Ronaldo, they started to buy them. Before he was raising them, right? You've never seen another
Yeah.
class of 92. So Brighton and all these guys, Tottenham, to me, I just think if we get our setup right this summer, if we do, nobody cares about us. They're not even bothering to banter me today. Nobody's attacking me online. I'm
We
looking.
have
I'm
we
not
have
getting
an
No,
excellent
yeah. I was looking
opportunity.
at my phone. I was expecting someone to tag me to my various groups, and
no
I didn't
Arsenal
see
people
anything.
are bantering nothing. Sorry, Soji, you're
That's
saying we have
because
an excellent opportunity.
So we have
that's
an
because
excellent
before now we
opportunity as
don't
a
make
team.
mouth again.
Sorry, Klaus. Sorry.
Sorry, go on. Go on.
I was saying that
We have an
we have
excellent
an excellent opportunity to take this team from what you might call the what I call the negative vibe that's been going on at the club in the last few months, and turn things around for good, because from a managerial perspective, secondly from a squad reinforcement perspective, and also from a director of football perspective. So we have really, really a good chance to sort of turn things around. So the future is not as negative as it looks. It actually looks very, very bright if you look at it from that perspective.
No. Sports future is very bright. Like, it's very bright. Yeah. But when you compare to teams like Chelsea, they have even spending almost 600. I suppose I don't think we've not spent up to 300 or 400, and we've not. But you look at teams like Chelsea, that I thought they had it all covered. They had the players. They brought in a new manager in Potter. They thought they had everything, and it crumbled to the point that they can't even compete for any European spots. So I think Spurs they just have a glitch. It's just a little glitch, and they'll come back up. So I don't think it's anything that.
So as this
that
advert says, the future is bright. The future is Tottenham, right?
yeah.
Amen.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. Absolutely fantastic having you guys. Final word from you, Klaus, before we go.
Yeah, Spurs fans should look ahead to next season, and let's hope Levy gets it right this summer. I think that's just it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Chuma, you look forlorn.
I told you before the show, I said my heart wasn't in it, but quite frankly, after talking to you guys, my heart is still in it. So I'm one of those people that believe that there's darkness before sunshine. Rain will fall, the sun will shine. I think nothing could be darker for Spurs than right now, which means there's always something in the horizon coming. and I think there are better days coming. It could start with Leeds as well. I'm not going out to say we're going to beat Leeds, but I think since they couldn't do their last hurrah in front of their fans, who knows what they could do away from home. But let's see what happens next. Stay tuned.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today. Come on, you Spurs, guys. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Thank you.